Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents, not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, the Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. And we'll be talking to Blake Sloan coming up in just a second to find out what's going on all around the area, all around the world as far as real estate is concerned. It is the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show. Welcome in. Whenever you hear this show, you know you've got to have a lot of questions you need to have answered because so much new information is going to be coming your way. You can get those questions answered by calling Blake at his office at Sloan Realty Group. Sloan Realty Group. The phone number is 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD, or go online at blakesloan.com, blakesloan.com. We'll get that contact info back to you several times over the next 30 minutes. So if you missed it that time, don't sweat it. We'll get it to you again here shortly. In the meantime, here he is for the show, Blake Sloan.
Good morning. Got a awesome show. A ton of brand new stuff we'll talk about this week all over the place. Like Dave mentioned, even some national news, some local news. We have the brand new micro market numbers out from last month. As you all know, that's what everybody kind of likes to hear because it's like the nitty gritty details about your zip code, your neighborhood, your area. So look at how your area compares to kind of the others in our area. We call it the micro market. Most people don't even know what that is. Most agents don't even know what that is. And so look at the micro market. We'll recap the macro market, which is overall, obviously, the entire MLS, our entire Grand Strand here as well. Numbers looking really good there, actually. And some of those final numbers are coming in. Went over that. You're seeing sales up of 7.1% right now for resale homes, which is great news. So we'll dig into all those numbers. Look at that. One thing that's kind of interesting we'll talk about is an article came out this week from Inman News, which is like the big – I don't know how you saw it, like a big authority kind of within the industry.
Okay, the Bible of the industry.
Yeah, it's like the weekly. They always get the big breaking news, and they're always kind of comparing these huge companies, what's happening. And this guy Brad Inman, who I know, long story short, basically they came out and said that they declared the inventory crisis is over, and so nationally, right? Obviously, we weren't as bad as some of the other areas, but we're seeing that happen, which is something to watch out for because that means there's more inventory coming. There's less buyers buying stuff, which is obviously why you're seeing that happen in some of those areas. And so a lot of that's in the Northeast, parts of Colorado, California, Nevada, Florida, some. So we'll talk about that, what that means, and kind of what that means for us and how we can prepare going forward. So very interesting. We'll talk about that as well. Also, a couple of really good things from last week's show I want to talk about. We didn't have time for it, but we talk about how some high resale value projects that you can tackle in one single weekend. Some great from stuff there. Some brand new, awesome success stories. And we have an unsuccess story we'll talk about too, which is something we experienced from someone else moving from North Carolina, and how to avoid a major pitfall and cost you thousands of dollars for sure.
All right, a lot of good stuff to get to as always here on the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. If you're tuning in for the very first time, you don't know who Blake is. He's been called the Real Estate Whiz Kid. He's been featured in so many different places: Forbes magazine, Wall Street Journal, Realtor magazine, other national publications as well. You've heard the endorsements on this radio station from some big guns: Sean Hannity, Glenn Beck, Barbara Corcoran, Gary LeVox, and more. And if you put all that stuff together, I almost forgot the TV stuff. NBC, Fox and Friends, can't leave that out. Put all that stuff together, and it becomes just unimaginable how high that puts him up in the ranks of everybody. I mean, not just there locally, but I mean nationwide as far as real estate is concerned. So that's who he is. What about what he does? He's got trademark systems, Blake Sloan does, to help both buyers and sellers in the market. They're trademarked so that other people in other markets, they're like, hey, can we use that? Well, he's got a lot of secrets that are in there, and he does like to spill some of those secrets, but you can't learn them all here on the radio. That's why you need to talk to them in person. But I know one of the big points as far as your trademark systems, it comes down to one thing, right?
Yeah, 100%. This is something that every single day I talk about this. Every single show we made a promise to talk about this. Anyone that's listened before obviously knows that we talk about this because it's so important. It goes back to that horror story I was telling you about a minute ago. There's one of these things that costs them. And so it boils down to this. The single most important variable that determines your failure or success as a home seller comes down to one thing and one thing only. And that thing is the agent you choose, because what happens is it's all about how they execute. In selling a house, there's 118 different variables from A to Z. If each one's handled correctly, guess what? That puts money in your pocket, property actually gets sold, right? Works very well. You maximize your return there. But any of those variables handled incorrectly, aka that ball gets dropped, guess what? That costs you money. That costs you part of your hard-earned equity, which obviously is something that you don't want to do. And so what we did is we identified all those variables. Most agents don't even know what they are. They're just winging it, kind of along for the ride, hoping they can, knock the little alligator when it pops out with their hand, right? And so the reality is we make sure we have a system in place that's proven repeatable. And what it does, it creates maximum leverage every single point. And so it's like stacking the dominoes. At the end, right, there's a big gap between us and everyone else. And so increment by increment, piece by piece, make sure they're handled correctly to give us an advantage. At the end, there's a huge gap between us and everyone else. And so it's called the guaranteed sold system. The only proven system to sell them is twice as fast and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods. And so it's like running a marathon. It's like running an Ironman, right? Everyone takes off at the same exact time, but some finish 2 and 3 hours ahead of the other ones. It's the same exact thing that we do in the home selling process. I looked at what people did outside of real estate, where they operate real businesses, real things, and we're able to obviously make sure that we build something that models that like a real business. The problem with our industry, right, is you have all these people who are generalists. And so you have a company with 100 or 200 people, all are generalists trying to do it all. So like we talk about, and I'll talk later in the show, is that it's like one person at McDonald's trying to do the front register, the drive-through, the French fries at the same time, then wondering why the food doesn't taste good. It's the same thing that happens in selling homes. And so we see this, and I was talking about this morning with my team, and people, like one of the things we got lately is that one of our competitors is just, they're just saying, oh, we're number one, we're number one, we're number one, right? And all they're doing is basing it on home sales. Well, guess what? Anybody can sell that amount of homes if you want. All you gotta do is just recruit a ton of agents. The problem is the business model is broken, right? You cannot control the process when you have 200 people trying to do their own thing. And so the reality, what we did is ours is basically obviously consumer based. We have a system and a team in place that's proven repeatable. What it does, it manages those variables to give our client a huge competitive advantage when selling a house. For the buyer side, guess what? Same exact thing. There's 100+ variables that are different variables, usually the opposite. And we have a proven repeatable system there. It's called the unfair advantage home buying system. We get you priority access to all the foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, builder closeouts, all those things. But also the absolute best financing, depending on what type of buyer you are, investor, first-time home, second home, all that stuff gives you a huge advantage there. And obviously negotiation, right? We give a huge strategy in negotiation all the way down to the data, analytics, things like that. And so it's called the unfair advantage home buying system. But both of those, what they do is they give our client a huge competitive advantage when you're buying or selling. You put that on top of the average agent sells about 4 homes a year. You can see how you're able to create maximum leverage with someone who will do anything, and probably in some cases throw a client on the bus just to pay rent next month. And so the reality is who you use matters, right? Make sure it's someone there who's obviously an expert who knows what they're doing. People make this huge mistake of thinking that everyone's all a commodity, and that could not be further from the truth. So those RAF systems are proven, repeatable. I license them out to other agents in other parts of the country, and it works very, very, very well.
All right. Well, it works well for you, and it works well for the buyers and the sellers that give you a call that need your help. So if you're thinking about it, give Blake a call at Sloan Realty Group. The phone number is 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD, or go online to blakesloan.com, blakesloan.com. Coming up in just a minute, as you heard earlier, Blake's going to break down the markets into the micro markets to find out what's happening in your zip code as far as the real estate market is concerned. Also on the way, we will find out what's happening with the interest rates too. That's all next right here on the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Hey, it's your friend Sean Hannity. Now, if you own property in Myrtle Beach, the national marketing plan of the realtor that you choose is absolutely critical. Now, that's exactly why you need to talk to Blake Sloan at Sloan Realty Group. Now, Blake has a marketing system on a whole different level than anyone else in Myrtle Beach. That's so effective at capturing local buyers from around the world that he can guarantee to sell your home at a price and a deadline that you agree to, or Blake's going to buy it. While most agents rely on yard signs and open houses that attract the occasional buyer, Blake attracts hundreds of buyers each month, which creates demand and helps your property sell fast and for top dollar. Now, that's why, on average, Blake sells a property every single day of the year and is ranked among the top 100 agents in the entire U.S. by the Wall Street Journal. Now, working with Blake is risk-free. If you're not happy, Blake gives you the freedom to cancel your contract and pay nothing. So give Blake a call today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or just go online and see Blake's interview on NBC at blakesguarantee.com.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corcoran. To sell your home on time for the most money, you need a sharp agent with a marketing strategy that creates the most demand. Bottom line, you need a partner willing to put their own money on the line for you. In Myrtle Beach, I would hire Blake Sloan. His international marketing creates so much demand that if your home doesn't sell at a price and deadline you agree to, Blake will buy it. Partner with the agent I trust. Go online or call and get your home sold.
Welcome back into the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Coming up in just a second, we'll be checking out what the mortgage rates are looking like for this week In the meantime, let's break it down for you into your own very zip code to find out what's happening as far as the market is concerned. It's the micro market as far as the numbers go. What are we looking like, Blake?
So they're all over the place, right? So you're seeing some with double-digit increases, some with significant decreases, and we'll talk about that. Just for a quick recap for anyone that missed the overall, macro market, like the overall trend of the entire Grand Strand. If you look at last month compared to the same month last year, sales are up 7.1%, which is great. Something interesting though this year that I thought was very powerful is the hottest month of the year right now has been June. There's 573 homes sold.
Yeah.
This past month in July was only 530, but it was still better than last year's July. For some reason, last year's July was a huge dip. But if you look at the hottest month of last year was actually August, which is interesting in regards to how many homes are sold. There were 577 homes sold in the same month last year. And you can watch this kind of data each year. The previous year, the highest month of the year was in June, and the year before that was in June as well. So we'll see what happens this August. We're still busy, very, very, very busy trying to squeeze it all in. Our team, which we'll talk about in a second, but sales price up 6%, right? The median price is 212,000, which is awesome news. Months of supply down 8.6% at 5.3 months, which is interesting. There's perfect. It was 5.4 months last month, and so you're seeing it track down a little bit. As I mentioned a million times in the past, we're always about 6 months behind everyone else, i.e. the market leaders or whoever moves faster, right? And so we can predict what's going to happen here based on that. I've done it for years and years, and so that's something we'll continue watching though overall, right? And so if you go into really quick for new construction, closed sales up 4.2% last month, and prices up 11.6% last month at 251,270, which is awesome news there. And the overall supply was down 1.9% with only 5.2 months of inventory. And that's something we talk about every week in regards to how that months of inventory means. So basically what that means is if there wasn't one single house listed, it would take 5.2 months to sell all those out. And just a way to gauge anything below 6 months is obviously a seller's market. And so really quick into condos, just kind of a quick overview. Condo sales crushing it last month. They were up 21% from the same month last year, which is awesome. The hottest month of the year so far for condos, though, has been May, which is interesting, right? Yeah. And so these things matter if you watch the data and kind of play the part here, which is great. The highest month for condos last year was in June, and so we can watch that. Help you make good decisions as a seller, obviously. Prices up 4.4% last month at 129,999, and inventory, man, one of the lowest we've seen it, down 19% with 4.7 months of inventory, and so that's the lowest we've seen here. Matches last month as well. So that's a quick recap. So we'll jump into the micro market so you can kind of see comparison here. I'm going to fly through, but this is like one of the biggest things I get the most feedback on. People say, hey, look, we want to know what's going on in my area, my zip code, so you can kind of get a feel. It's important to always take this into account. We have our own software we built out to do your specific neighborhood as well. It'll actually extract that, run it through this crazy formulas and stuff that we created, and basically we'll be able to do the same exact data. But just so you can do the overall zip codes right now, Myrtle Beach for 29572 and 29577. Check this out. Last month, sales for single family homes up 23.3%. And so a huge jump there. And if you remember a few months back, they were a decline. And so you're seeing that kind of come, which is great. Year to date, sales in Myrtle Beach up 14.6%. The one thing last month, prices jumped 13.1%. The median price was at $338,995. The same month last year, it was at $299,610. And so you can see that $38,000 jump pretty much was great news right there for home sellers. Last month year to date prices up 2.6%. Condos the same way. Myrtle Beach condos last month up 22.1%. They're up 3.1% for the year. And prices, a little interesting enough though, they're down 0.8% for the year at 119. The same month last year they're at 120. So you're seeing that you probably will see that lag indicator price go up next couple months because you just saw a huge 22% increase in sales. And so that's something that's great to kind of look at as well. Into North Myrtle Beach, they're crushing it too. These two are kind of the hottest here. North Myrtle Beach sales up 36.2% last month. Huge jump there. Went from 47 to 64 sales. Year to date, sales are down 2.7%. So you can see it's kind of seasonal there as well, which is something you want to take into account. Median price last month up 6.8% in North Myrtle Beach at $298,950. Great news there for the year. Sales Prices are up 0.5% at 298,500. And so condos in North Myrtle up 15.3% last month, and prices up 12.5% last month at 180,000. So guess what? North Myrtle Beach is kicking butt, which is great news here. Here's the opposite kind of spectrum, though. Surfside Beach last month, sales down 7.9%. And so you see that they're very similar marketplaces, right? I always compare Surfside to North Myrtle Beach in a way because they're kind of the shoulder areas. I grew up in Surfside, by the way, but year-to-date sales in Surfside down 10.5% overall. The cool news is last month prices were up 15% overall, and so that's the good news there. And actually, inventory in Surfside was up last month, up 7.3%. So some more homes for sale there, which is interesting. So you may see that softening just a slight bit. Condo sales last month in Surfside up 5.7%, and prices are doing awesome. They're up 15.5% year-to-date. For condos in Surfside. So great news here for everyone. The Garden City Myrtle Inlet area closed sales for homes up 1.4% last month, up 7.8% for the year. And our prices kicking butt to up 4% for the year and last month at 270,000 year to date. The inventory is down there as well, down 6.5% as well. And to Pawleys Island, sales last month up 21.2%. The year to date, though, is actually down 6%. Which is something to kind of watch and feel there. Prices year to date up 4.1%. In Pawleys, they have a huge, much higher median price there. We sell a lot of high-end stuff there as well. 342,500 is median price. Loris and Longs, this is kind of interesting to me here too. Sales down 26.8% last month. Again, it's a smaller number, but it went from 71 sales in July last year to 52 this year, and so you can see it's pretty significant. The great news is year to date sales are up 9.7%. The main reason driving that for Loris and Longs is inventory. The inventory is down 24.2%, and so you can see there's just less homes for sale out there, which is something that you're running into. And obviously not a whole lot of condo sales out there. Into Conway last month, numbers sales up 7.0% for single family. Great news there. Year to date sales up 3.7%. Prices up 6.8%. So the median price for Conway last month is 170,888. The cool news, if you look at the same month last year, it was at 159, and so a significant jump there. If you had a house, worth 159 last year, it's worth 170,888 right now. And so great news there. On average, homes in Conway are selling for 98.2% asking price. Very, very, very high. Great. That means there's the ones that are selling, right, are getting a lot of demand. In some cases, multiple offers, which is something you kind of know and understand there if you're looking to buy. And I did not have enough data to really do much last month. But right now, year-to-date, Aner sales are up 29.2% overall versus same time period last year, which is great. Prices up 5.3%. So we're seeing that, in my opinion, kind of that crest are coming up. We're seeing prices are up, sales are up, and we want to watch and see what happens, though, as inventory starts to increase, right? Sales may stay the same or decrease slightly. So if you're a home seller out there, you want to take advantage of this in a way. And so without going too deep in it, that article from Inman talks about what happened is there's this crisis that's been driving a lot of these areas in the country, aka inventory crisis, meaning people can't find anything to buy, right? So they're not selling theirs, which creates more of a problem all over the place. People that get properties, they run 20, 30 people in a weekend, get multiple offers on it, and that was some craziness. And so what happened was it really hindered sales. And so what happens, buyer demand has kind of come back a little bit off those areas. And so an indicator for us to watch out for is that we may see some softening in the next 4 to 6 months. That's something to keep aware if you're thinking about selling, if you've been kind of, I guess, sitting on the sidelines, maybe getting ready to call, have not called yet. Take advantage of that now. As we mentioned, August for us, last year was one of the busiest months of the year. Right. And this is when you see a lot of the great buyers come in that are, you see a little higher sales price, and we see people who are here more serious to buy. So you're to have a little bit less vacationers once kids are back in school. A lot of people we're dealing with are people coming in town right now just to buy. And so that's something you want to definitely make sure you take advantage of. Our inventory here is still very, very, very low. We need inventory. So if you're thinking about selling, you had it on the market before, did not get it sold, reach out and call me, 843-808-SOLD. Also, it's more important than ever is anyone that you talk to that mentions the word real estate, mentions house, sell, anything, club them over the head, drag them to our office, whatever you got to do. I'm just kind of joking, but ultimately make sure they call us because we can help, right? We help horror story after horror story all the time, but they do not have to go through that horror story, right? Have them call us first. We've had that happen the past few weeks for some great success stories, which I'll share in a minute. One thing maybe driving some of this is interest rates, right? They've been up and down, up and down. If you guys remember last week, the 30-year fixed rate was 4.70%. We've been hovering around there for a while. This week, there's some good news. It's down a little bit at 4.64% right now for a 30-year fixed rate, which is great news. A 15-year fixed rate mortgage right now, 4.14%. A 30-year FHA loan is 4.37%. A jumbo loan is right now at 4.38%. And a 5-year adjustable rate mortgage is 3.96%. And so the one thing to kind of keep in mind, let's pull a report here that I constantly always watch, and it's kind of what everyone predicts is going to happen with rates going forward, right? There's a lot of top economists in our industry, a lot of people with Mortgage Bankers Association. We're talking about, third quarter this year, obviously 4.7 and above. We've already hit that. Fourth quarter this year, looking at 4.8%. And if you look at that, a jump of just 4.6 to 4.8% bumps a mortgage up $30 a month if you're looking at a $250,000 loan. And they're talking at the average for 2019, you're looking at above 5%, 5.1% in the beginning, which is $75 a month more in payment. To be exact, is $75.76. And so you can see how that can add up over time. And you see sometimes it may hurt buying buyer power, purchasing power for buyers. And also, obviously, it may hinder them from paying more and making that move. And so you want to take advantage before rates get too high. They're talking about Q1 2019 is 4.9, and the average for next year, everyone's saying 5.1%. And so it does make mortgage go up. It does hinder buyers from qualifying for more. And usually the most mismanaged variable in the process is ultimately interest rate, because most people just focus solely on house price, that they obviously don't manage their interest rate. So we help make sure you're well taken care of that on both sides. But remember, it does affect sellers too, because those are the buyers who are buying your house for sure.
Absolutely. Well, that's a lot of great information, obviously, that we're looking at, but we still have more to come. Can you believe it? Stuff coming up in just a minute. It includes your hot buyers alert. Also, we're going to be talking about some great success stories that we have here. And what do we say? An unsuccess story? Interesting. You'll have to stick around and find out what that's all about in just a minute. Remember, you're listening to the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Get in touch with Blake at the Sloan Realty Group office. The phone number is 808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD, or go online to blakesloan.com, blakesloan.com. You want your home sold on time and for the most money without all sorts of excuses? Hi, it's Glenn Beck, and when I had to sell my home, I went through several agents who all had good ideas, but the bottom line is they couldn't get the job done. Well, you have a celebrity in your own.
7 minutes.
Just under 5 minutes.
Okay.
Blake Sloan.
Gotcha.
Sloan Realty.
All right, we'll do that.
Blake has a marketing system that reaches buyers from around the U.S. and around the world. And week after week, he attracts hundreds of buyers. And that creates incredible demand. And that's why he can guarantee to sell your home at a price and a deadline that you'll agree to, or he's going to buy it. Plus, you don't really risk anything when you list with Blake. Since if he doesn't live up to the contract, you walk away free and clear. Really no wonder why Sean Hannity and I, along with real estate tycoon and Shark Tank star Barbara Corcoran, endorse Blake. Call Blake Sloan right now, 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or visit Blake's website. That's blakesguarantee.com. blakesguarantee.com. Or listen to Blake's Real Estate Show every Saturday morning at 9 or Sunday morning at 11:30 right here on WRNN. It's the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. We'll let you know how many active buyers are out there looking for your home in just a second. First of all, Blake is looking for your home as well. If you got a home anywhere in the Myrtle Beach area, anywhere between $150,000 to $3.5 million, if you're even thinking of selling, he needs your inventory right now. So call 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD. Why does he need inventory? Active home buyers on Blake's website right now, 49,067 people looking out there, not just once a month, once a day, but probably several times in an hour, if not several times a day, because inventory is needed and they want to be first in line to get that home, Blake. It's just amazing.
They're stalking it, man. Sometimes they're seeing some going minutes. Like they'll come. We had somebody last week, one of our team members, Baron, awesome guy. He had someone who was not in town, and they've been looking, lost out and some stuff. They called him at like 5:40 afternoon about this brand new listing. I think he actually sent it to him through the system. He drove out there for them, did a video of the property for him. Boom, they made an offer, sight unseen, contingent upon. They flew down that weekend, take a look at it. Obviously, they already had it under contract, and so you got to move quick. And so that's something our team's very good at with that. But right now, those people Dave mentioned are like real people. Those aren't just 40,000 hits. Those are 49,000 plus real people. And so like right now on the site, Rebecca Baxley, she's from Clemson, South Carolina, is on the site. Geraldo Haycox, that's butchered that last name. Chesapeake, Virginia, is somebody from Matthews, North Carolina. Amherst, New Hampshire. And so long story short, we have them all over. And so we spend massive, massive, massive amounts of money. This is how we help give you a huge advantage, right? We have a huge buyer team. We're up to almost 15 buyers agents right now. All day, every day, they just basically follow up and serve our clients. But the reality is we can increase demand for your property because we have more buyers. And so we match up buyer and sell a lot of times instantly, which is very, very cool. And so if you're thinking about selling, if someone you know is thinking about selling, have them call us. Again, don't have them go through a horror story, little problems and things like that. We need inventory right now. We need properties to sell. And so we have the buyers to match up. And that's a huge advantage we give you because regardless of how many listings we have, my machine is still running. My foot is to the metal, pedal to the metal for buyers all over the globe. And so that's what sets us apart and gives us huge advantage, but it helps you out because we literally have 49,000 active buyers that we can match your property up to, all the way down to the technology we built that will look at what they're looking at and find the most likely buyer for your property. And so very valuable story there. We got like 3 minutes left.
Yeah, just about.
All right, cool. The crazy story that we had about the unsuccess story has somebody buying from us from North Carolina, and they had their house for sale in North Carolina, but they represent themselves. And so we did not know that initially. We thought that they just had it under it with an agent. They didn't use agent to save money. They got, I think, some earnest money, not near as much earnest money as they should have had. They did not verify funds, right? The person had their cash money, right? And so they came to us. They already had their house under contract. They said, a sure go. We asked them, hey, are you sure that it's going to be a go? Yes. They found the house here they wanted. Our buyer's agent helped them. We said, hey, look, here's the deal. They want to make a contingent upon, they did not want to make a contingent upon their selling. We said, look, here's the deal. You want to protect yourself here? They said, nope, it's a done deal. Nothing to worry about here. They've already done inspections. Everything's good to go. Okay. Came to closing this past week. Their buyers had disappeared. There's no buyer, no proof of funds, no nothing, and only like I think a measly $500 in earnest money that helped them. And so what happens is it costing them their dream house on this side. And so all that because they want to save some money. And there's so many details. I talk about those variables that matter. Do you verify their proof of funds, which you always do? Where are they at? Can we see them to make sure they actually have the money or the pre-approval? The same thing all the way down to earnest money. Make sure it's enough. Keep their skin in the game. And so really quick success stories here since you're out of town. Jeffrey and Jeannie want to move back to West Virginia to be back with family. They want their house sold here ASAP. And for top dollar, a radio listener referred them to us, which is awesome. We came in, picked the highest price possible, global marketing blitz, professional photos, had an under contract, almost full asking price within 3 weeks. And Karen, this cool story, was looking to downsize after being at home for 30 years. Want to get max amount of money for her property so she could obviously use that money right after downsizing. And came to us after being referred by a couple friends, not just one. And we went our global marketing blitz, had 2 offers within 5 days, property under contract. And now she's able to move into a beautiful condo, keeping her hard-earned equity. And so the reality is, this happens. We got like 5 more. Dave can see what I'm thinking I'm out of time. Reach out and call me. 843-808-SOLD. We work our butts off because we're committed to getting results for sure.
Absolutely. And hey, if you want to find out more about those success stories, call Blake and he'll make you a success story as well. All you need to do is give him a call at his office at Sloan Realty Group at 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD, or go online to blakesloan.com, blakesloan.com. That was a quick 30 minutes, Blake. We'll do it again
Yeah,
next week.
I'll be here next week too.
All right, sounds good. It's the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Hey, Myrtle Beach, it's Gary LeBach, lead singer of Rascal Flatts.
Moving on.